Hi, in the next few minutes I want to speak about a few aspects of Agile and Waterfall projects that cause many confusion in practice. The first thing I want to talk about is that Agile projects are bottom-up and Waterfall projects are top-down. In Agile projects, you fix the amount of time and resources you allocate to the project, and you set a general direction as if you define the desired goal as filling up a bucket as much as you can. And then you define elementary pieces of features you use to realize your goal and make as many of these as you can to fill the bucket as much as you can. In a waterfall project, you start with a definite scope, and then you determine what you need to do to achieve that goal. You start planning from top down. You don't say that you have this amount of resources and this amount of allocated time, but you start with breaking down the job you need to do to achieve your goals and defining in more and more detail all the tasks you need to perform to achieve the result. And then, in a reversed order, you start estimating resources and the time needed for all the elemental tasks, and aggregate them to the highest level of the project and end up with an estimate of how much resources you need to achieve your goal. So, in the waterfall case, you have a definite scope, which determines the amount of time and the amount of resources you need. In the Agile case, you have a definite time and definite amount of resources, which determines at the end that how much of your desired results can you realize with these resources. Another source of confusion is the deceiving similarity of the basic elements of Agile and Waterfall projects. In Agile projects, the basic element is a user story. In Waterfall projects, the basic element is a task. The user story is not a task. User story may require several tasks to complete. User stories are elementary features contributing to your goal, contributing to your scope, being part of your solution. Features you want to realize, characteristics of your end product. Tasks are jobs to do. They do not determine any of the features on their own. Therefore, tasks cannot be interpreted without the work breakdown structure. None of the tasks guarantees you any of the features. When you estimate resources, you can allocate a different amount of these resources to different user stories. But you always try to put as much user stories in a sprint as you can perform in the given amount of time. So you fix time and resources and you trade results in return. In a waterfall project, you define the scope, you know what you want, and you don't want to compromise on that. But that means that it drives your required amount of resources. You cannot just say that I want this, but I don't allocate the resources and time needed to complete the job. Now, these distinctions are important because in many cases, people use Agile tools to realize waterfall projects. And it can be a source of confusion because they use Agile terminology they use not completely agile thinking, but and not really an agile mindset, but agile expectations to one part of the project and waterfall expectations to other part. It is a key lesson that you need to choose between the two. If you go with the agile approach, you trade scope for a fixed time and fixed amount of resources. If you go with the waterfall approach, you get all the details, all the works you defined done, but only if you provide the required amount of time and the required amount of resources. You cannot have both. You have a choice. Having a choice is a good thing, but the choice is not about I want both words. The choice is about which you prefer over the other.